TERI and Germanwatch are, along with CANSA and CSTEP, are implementing this MAP project. MAP is Multi-Actor Partnership project. We have already mapped the various kinds of risks, policy risks, investment risks, and legal and other risks associated with the projects, delayed payments, etc. And currently, we are trying to identify the mitigation options involving all the stakeholders in the country.
Now, when we look at networking, new models of entrepreneurship need to be evolved. Financial institutions need to design new investment portfolios. We need to work on policies which invite investments from outside, foreign investments. All these aspects need to be done by multi-actors interacting with each other, and that is where this project plays an important role.
The development of solar is just fantastic in India. So starting at that time, India has deployed about 2 gigawatt. Now we are talking and have commissioned more than 30. And now within the next 3 years, they are aiming for 100. Going beyond that, in the next 10 years to come, we are talking about 300 gigawatt. These are tremendous number, catapulting India to be the world leader, but China. So GIZ has supported India first on, let's say, pilots, especially on the cricket stadium in Bangalore, helped the Delhi Metro to become green. Now we move to regulation. We established and help India to develop renewable energy management center. And now we are getting into solar aggregation and what we call PV port to have a solution for residential building and putting on rooftops. So these are the things we did and India developed as well. For the future, now the next main thing is how to make sure that you really get to those large numbers. So we need more space. And the question, where are future spaces beyond ground mounted installments on large parks, which could be, for example, in the future agro PV. But in general, to have a smoother development, it's all about de-risking the investment in solar. And this would bring down the prices again from nowadays 2.5 rupees, which is roughly 3 euro cents per kilowatt hours, to less than that. And as other countries like Portugal or Saudi Arabia demonstrated, we can achieve even a third less than those numbers, which are prevalent in India nowadays, just by making sure interest rates are coming down, risks are less, and therefore you need to develop a stable environment.
We could do only 30 gigawatts so far, 70 gigawatt is going to be there, and commitment of India has come none other than the Honorable Prime Minister in the recently UN meeting, where we are going to achieve the 100 gigawatt target. And if we just take a ballpark figure, that translates into a kind of 25 to 30 billion of debt which is going to be there.
You know, given the poor quality that is possible, that is only possible if prices are so low. So it would be really useful to concentrate on strict regulations as to quality of solar modules, quality of installations of solar power plants, so that there's also an assurance for investors that the life cycle, the promised life cycle will really be achieved with this installation.
Well, India has a very ambitious target for solar electricity generation installed capacity of about 100 gigawatts by 2022. Now, that would mean that they will have to set up large solar plants in large tracts of rural India. Now, this would also have its benefit to the rural population, because most of them are dependent on agriculture for their livelihood. With solar farms also being set up, the main advantages that could act as an additional source of revenue for farmers who could possibly look at new business models, such as having shareholding in the solar company and so on, instead of selling the land outright.
The single largest barrier to the investment in renewables in India is the lack of certainty regarding repayments. The fear that state governments may renege on contractual obligations to repay is leading to a reduction in the capability, capacity and willingness of investors to invest in renewable energy in India. We need to put in place mechanisms like letters of credit, things like performance contracts, payment guarantee mechanisms which enable the greater certainty of repayment.
Yeah, risks when financing renewable energies are there. Even though in India there is no environmental and social risk analysis demanded for solar projects, we feel that there are risks in this respect. And this reflects on one hand, say that we have employed very recently in our office in Delhi here, a social development expert who is supposed to help us in recognizing risks and identifying risk at a very early stage of a project. Then the other thing is that we insist on, in any project we are financing in India here, we insist on a very exhaustive environmental and social impact analysis, even though that might not be demanded by Indian legislation, but we still insist on it because we have to. It is our standards that we have to obey to. And on the other hand, we feel that it helps mitigating risks. Because sooner or later, if there are risks with land tenure, with land acquisition, with indigenous people having been not treated in the correct way, these risks will pop up later. So better treat them right from the beginning.
Now, there's also a downside to the whole issue. The downside to the issue is that it should not result in large land grabbing. And so what is required for a country like India is to put in place adequate policies to ensure that land acquisition is made in a fair and a transparent manner.